2, 1. What is up, dude?
What is up to you?
I'm so happy to have you here, man.
I'm here finally.
Welcome to the Wild West of broadcasting, dude.
Yeah.
You can say the fuck word here.
Fuck yeah. I love that. No FCC violations here.
So for everyone watching,
Yeah.
Logan is one of the two faces of New Mexico Living on KRQE.
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there for?
I have been at KRQE since 2017. So how many years is that? What's journalism at? 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24. 7 years.
Damn.
But I haven't been a host for the entire time. I haven't been on air. I've only been on air for a little over a year now. I was a producer and writer.
Oh, nice.
For the first 6 years there.
Okay.
So I did hard news where just as a producer. So I produced the 9 o'clock news, produced 10:30 news. I did the noon. But yeah, it transitioned into lifestyle as the producer. So the New Mexico Living, I was the producer of that show for 2 years before I got the host job.
Nice.
So,
Because you and Monica do a great job.
dude, it's so much fun. And I got to tell you this, when you do a lifestyle show like the one we have, chemistry is like almost everything, right? It's super important. And from day one, we had no issues with chemistry because me and Monica are best friends. And
awesome.
we had been best friends before I got the host job.
Yeah.
So we stepped on out on that desk that first show, and it was just like immediate. And so we have such a fun time doing it. And when you love the person you're sitting across from, and you love like what you're doing, it shows. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you always hear
blast.
those stories of entertainment where, they're on these TV shows for a long time. They're
Yeah.
on these movies that shoot for like 5, 6, 7 months. And
Yeah.
they hate each other and they have to fake it and they have to all
Yeah.
that shit. And you guys are the fun side of the news, too.
We really are.
It's like 6 dead, but now let's talk about puppies.
Yeah, 6 dead in the local streets. Now fat cats on treadmills. Over to you guys. It's dude.
And now because for anyone listening that doesn't know, they actually had me on their show, which I was very, very thankful to do.
It was so much fun.
We had a one-on-one, and that was awesome.
You got to tell me all about what it's like to get a podcast going, which you've clearly know how to do. I remember talking to you. It was fascinating, dude. You could clearly tell you knew what you were doing.
Oh, thanks,
like,
man.
Off the jump. And so we had a really good conversation. So that's why we wanted to mix mediums a little bit. Right?
Yeah.
You came on my show. Now I'm on yours.
Well, because the one thing I was very thankful to go on, but the one thing, this is across like all news media, that I don't like about it is that it's quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's quick, it's fast, and there's skill to that for sure. Like,
Right.
No joke. Before I went on, I was like practicing. Like, okay, what am I going to say?
Yeah.
What's the quickest, most concise way to get my point across? Thank God I was getting asked like, "What do you think about global warming?" Like, I don't fucking, you know what I mean?
Let's get deep with it.
Yeah.
Global warming.
Yeah, I can't exactly solve the issues in Gaza in 5 minutes. You know what I mean? But
Right.
with something like a podcast, like, okay, I can get my point across like
Yeah.
that. And to be completely honest, up until the interview actually aired,
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to air because I was like, okay, so there's got to be a producer, there's
Yeah.
got to be a board guy, there's got to be a president that looks at the logo and goes, no fucking way. There's got to be, right? But no, it aired. I was like, oh. Okay.
We made it.
Yeah, we made it. I was like, all right, sounds good. I'm marketable officially.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
you are. Yeah, dude, that's the thing that's so funny you say, because we're supposed to do those interviews technically in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Each guest is supposed to have 3 minutes. And I personally feel like it's so hard to do an in-depth interview with somebody in 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we're bringing people on to talk about because we get everything on the show.
Yeah.
We get, we're talking to UNM Children's Hospital about charity fundraisers, or we'll bring in on a patient or a success story or something like that. And it's so hard to flesh out an interview with them in 3:30. So we've actually tailored the show and worked it and changed the format a little bit to where we can give our guests a little bit longer of a period. We're shooting for around 5 minutes now. Sometimes we can go longer if the show allows us to, depending on what we have on that day. But yeah, dude, that's so funny you say that because we struggle. We're like 3 minutes and 30 seconds. How am I supposed to these people are coming in the morning and they want to have their time, and it's like I can barely get my intro done in 40 seconds, and that's
Right. I was gonna say, 'cause that's 3 minutes and 30 seconds total. That's
Total.
including questions. That's
Yes.
including the introduction to who the person is.
Which I didn't like because like I said, I used to produce the show, so I'm my hands are in the show. I'm writing the show with Monica, with our producer Adrian, with our other producer Nadine. We're all doing it together. But up until before we had this crew, it was pretty much just me writing the show. So I'm the one writing all those scripts, getting those questions in, and so I got really good at writing these intros for these interviews, like getting really creative with them, because that's the thing about this show is you want it to be like fun and entertaining, but informational and timely at the same time, right?
Get some value out of it.
Absolutely. And so I've gotten good over the years at getting quirky with intros and how we're gonna keep the viewer like laughing, smiling, wanting to watch the show, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like. To write a good intro, it's really hard to say, welcome back. We're here at the OnlyKings podcast. All right, I'm joined by Noah Vargas. It's like, that's nothing. It's like, you want to be like OnlyKings in the Duke City. That's right. We're highlighting only the Kings. It's in the name, and then we can get into it, a little bit. But it's, yeah, man, everything is such a time crunch.
What got you into journalism in the first place? Or just the media world in general. What got you into that in the first place?
My story is interesting. So I was a big athlete growing up in high school. I played football, basketball, and baseball. When I realized, okay, I'm not going to be a college athlete. I want to be around sports in some capacity. Being a sports reporter or a sports writer would be sweet. And then I clearly started to notice, writing, being a sports writer is like few and far between, right? And it's really hard to make a living that way. Also, sports reporter, kind of the same thing. So that was kind of my mindset, right? And I was exercise science in college. I wanted to be like an athletic trainer. And then I couldn't pass organic chemistry, which was like the basic chemistry class you had to pass. Dude, the story is so funny. I remember our first test, there were 30 questions on the test. And I studied all night with my buddy. And we get the test back like 2 days later, and my test says 26. And so I'm like, 26 out of 30?
Oh, shit.
That's like a B, right? Like, that's a B? I'm like, I studied. Heck yeah. Go meet my buddy after the class. I'm like, what'd you get? He was like, I got a 63, man. And I go, you did that math really well. And he goes, no, they just put it on the test. He turns it around, 63. So I got a 26 out of 100, not out of 30.
I'm proud to announce that the podcast is now officially sponsored by the fine people over at Chop Chili Company. Guys, this is some of the best chili you can get here in the state of New Mexico, and they are online as well as in stores. They can be found at Smith's, Albertsons, Sprouts, John Brooks, and Lowe's Corner Market. They have 3 amazing flavors that you see here, and they also have frozen green chili that you can get online. Go on over to the website, chopchilico.com, and get yourself some amazing chili today. Podcast is now officially sponsored by the amazing people over at High Desert Relief, a premier herbal destination right here in the state of New Mexico. They have extremely well-trained and knowledgeable staff that are more than happy to help you find what you're looking for or try something that you maybe have never thought of. They have 2 locations here in Albuquerque, 1 in Santa Fe. All 3 will be listed right here and in the description of this episode. All 3 offering legendary products at absolutely legendary prices, including this awesome merch that they were so kind enough to gift me here. All of this can be found at all 3 of their locations. Again, big thank you to the guys over at HDR for supporting. Now back to the episode.
That's when I knew. I said, Logan's got to change his major to something that doesn't require chemistry.
That's exactly why I didn't go to the fucking Naval Academy. I was like, I went to military school, and I was like, you know what? I want to go to the Naval Academy, do this and that. And I got my first round of grades back freshman year of high school, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've gone from Naval Academy to possible GED. Fuck. Oh, no.
The path, dude. Yeah. Everyone's path is
So anyway,
crazy.
so you end up moving out of organic chemistry.
I dropped exercise science, changed my major to journalism multimedia, kind of thrived in that in college. And then I got my first job at Channel 7, actually, fun fact. I was an associate producer. That was my title. That's what I told my girlfriend, who's now my wife at the time. But what an associate producer entailed was me running the teleprompter.
Nice.
So that's what I did, man. My first job, I made like $12 an hour. I was running a teleprompter at Channel 7, part-time. And I remember my mom was talking to me because I was like, I have this new girlfriend. I just started dating my girlfriend, who's now my wife. This is back in 2016. And so, I wanted to stay. And so I got this job. And so my mom was always really, inspirational to me. She always just said, you got to get your foot in the door, just get your foot in the door, and then you'll be able to go from there. And sometimes getting your foot in the door is taking that job. It's $12 an hour, part-time, no benefits, just running a teleprompter, And so I would show up to Channel 7 wearing a shirt and a tie, dress shirt, tie, slacks, and I'm like, they're not used to the teleprompter operator wearing that type of stuff. Like they're
I'm sure they're not used to the teleprompter operator showing up on time.
That's also true. And so I just always dressed for the job I wanted, and I did that for a while. I worked at Channel 7 for maybe 7 months doing that, and then I had a friend who I went to college with who worked at Channel 13, said there were some producer openings that were full-time, benefits, and you're like in the door, you're producing shows now. I applied, got that, and from there, the rest is history. I worked my way through the system. And
the title producer is so large and so like, generalistic. So what, when you first got into that role, what were you doing as a producer of a show?
So you basically have your show. So, and I used to think that, when I got into it, there's going to be so many people working on one show. It's pretty much, there's one producer, and he's in charge of that whole show. So his job is to you'll have your rundown, right? So say if you're doing the noon, that's a 30-minute newscast. It's your job to find all the stories for it. So what you want your stories in your A block, your B block, what local story, and you stack the rundown, you write the scripts, you put the sound in, you put the banners in, you put the video IDs in so the video editors can edit the video. You're basically doing all of it. And then you'll have an anchor who comes in, they'll maybe help a little bit, write a script here or there, but then they'll look through the show. If they like it, they go out and they anchor it. The producer is like the O lineman of the newsroom. All the work, very little credit. And so that's pretty much what you do. And so we have individual producers on each show. So there's a noon producer, there's a 4 o'clock producer, there's a 9 o'clock, a 10 o'clock. Some producers do multiple shows. So you'll have, the 6 o'clock producer also does the 9. The 4 o'clock producer also does the 10. It's interchangeable. Just depends on, how staffed we are at the time. But that's pretty much what a producer does, and they do a lot of the grunt work, man. It's a lot of the writing, the producing, the writing, the stacking, the banners. There's a lot that goes into it, and so I realized that pretty early when I got, because I didn't know what I had no idea what it was when I got the job as a producer. Didn't really know how to do anything. I remember I was sitting in a very common thing in the newsroom, like when you're making a show, is putting a video ID in so you can have video. Like you have to do that. That's known. My first day, didn't know that. So I'm working in these scripts and I'm not putting any video IDs in. And one of the anchors at the station at the time goes, "Hey, Logan." And I look over and she goes, "Do you know what a video ID is?" And I'm all, yeah. And she's like, "Okay, you've put none in your rundown." Because the editors can't edit anything.
Is for people listening, what is a video ID?
It's basically how you put video into a newscast. Okay. So how you see all those videos in our show, like when you came on the show.
Yeah.
We threw up the OnlyKings, video pictures that you'd submitted. I had to create a video ID for our video editors to get those photos or those videos and put them into the show. So it's essential. You have to those are all throughout the rundown. That's producing 101, and I had no idea what I was doing. So I learned relatively quickly, though.
Yeah.
And
generally speaking, are they expecting producers to have college degrees in any kind of journalism or?
It used to be that way. Now, not so much. Okay. They want you to have a degree for sure of some sort. It doesn't necessarily have to be a journalism or multimedia degree. That does obviously help you and gives you a leg up, I guess you would say. But yeah, you don't necessarily have to. We've had producers who have English majors. We've had producers who have had other just degree
So college degrees are expected, though.
They are expected. Yes. Yeah. I don't know of anyone who's been hired at the station who didn't have a college degree, but
is there anything or any classes that you took that you feel actually translated? Because I feel like at that point it's sure the basis of journalism what those classes would translate over.
Yeah.
But a lot of it's just how effective of a writer are you? How convincing of a writer are you? Are you able to articulate all your ideas properly, make it convincing, and make it not just translatable? Because I remember growing up being told that the newspaper is written at a third grade a third grade reading level so that everyone can read it. So it's okay, if not necessarily dumbing down, but if you're making it digestible to everybody possible, not for nothing, but the 51st in education. So you got to make sure that everyone can see your program, not only understand what you're talking about, but why is it important.
Right.
Do you feel like that's the most important skill you gained from college?
I'll tell you this. I took a broadcast media class in college. Richard Schaefer was the teacher for that class, and he's really well known in the journalism department at UNM. He taught like people. David Romero has worked at KRQE for 15 plus years almost, and he taught David Romero, in college. So that guy's been around teaching a bunch of journalists who came up and through the thing. So I learned a lot in his class. Honest to God, though, I learned the most just by doing. Like, you learn so much once you get out there. Obviously, you need the degree. I mean, technically, some people require it, but and it helps, of course, But the most I ever learned was literally just getting into KRQE and getting my hands dirty and learning it that way. And when you're writing scripts, it's so funny. You're right, because you really have to write for layman's terms, because you can't be using huge jargon in these. Writing for the ear is so much different than writing for the eye. Yeah. And it really is a skill that you have to learn. Like, you can't have these big long sentences, in television scripts, and you just pretty much learn how to do it. Some people get it and some people don't. I'll tell you that much. And the ones who don't get it fizzle out really, really quickly.
Well, because you can't. There aren't context clues in 3 to 5 minutes.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? There isn't they said this earlier, and now 5 minutes later they're saying this. Okay, maybe that. And 10 minutes later, it's no, it's at face value.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here?
Yes, you have to the who, what, when, where, why in 30 seconds for, especially in news, because I'm in lifestyle now, so my writing is a little bit different. It's my writing is way more conversational. I can put my personality into my writing. You really can't do that when you're writing for the news. Yeah, you're the who, what, when, where.
Well,
why,
you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
But you look at some of these giant companies, and it's hey, bud, fair and balanced, huh?
The difference between local news, I think some people don't understand this too, is the difference between local news and your national news, your national, we are a Fox affiliate. So I used to produce the Fox show at KRQE whenever I was a news producer.
That's shocking. I got to be honest.
Yeah, we're the CBS/Fox. That's us.
No shit.
And then Channel 4 is NBC, and then Channel 7 is ABC.
Oh, that's right, because they go to. Oh, right. That makes sense. That makes sense. Just kidding.
So,
that makes sense.
But I remember I would have family members be talking about well, can you talk about this? Can you talk about that? Because you're the Fox, because they think Fox is right wing, right?
Right.
And I'm no, it's completely different on a local scale. We really, at least I did, and I can just speak for myself and the people that I kind of worked with, is we really took our opinions as much as we could out of the newscast. When you're getting a newscast where it's just today there was a shooting over here, today this happened here, just your normal newscast, instead of one that brings on interviews and guests and stuff. We're more of just cut and dry who, what, when, where, why, instead of pushing our agenda, I guess you could say. Locally, that is. Now, nationally, a completely different story. Completely different story. Obviously, Fox News is going to lean towards Trump, and CNN's going to lean towards Biden. And,
right. It is what it is. And what's funny is 4 or 5, even 10 years ago, that's taboo to say. Right. And then now it's okay, the charade's up, right?
Yeah.
Can we just agree now that this isn't fair and balanced, and you aren't looking
exactly.
What the fuck are we talking about? And that's why I don't mind. I am totally in support of getting rid of the national guys, but keep local news. I like essential. Local news, because again, it's not just maybe I could be wrong about this, but the success of local news in Albuquerque, since Albuquerque is the biggest city in New Mexico, right? Yeah. The success of local news here can kind of dictate how successful news could be in a town like Roswell or Artesia or Farmington or Espanola. It's okay, it's not that they get any money or anything like that, but it's if they have so many viewers in Albuquerque watching the news, we can now justify having a budget for Espanola, having a budget for Farmington, Artesia, whatever.
Absolutely.
Is there any truth to that?
In terms of if we're
viewership.
Successful, and so if we're successful, then maybe they could get a station in. Okay. So I know that there used to be a station in Roswell when I was growing up. It was KBIM, I believe is what it was called. Mm-hmm. Van Tate, sports guy, used to be the sports director down there. I'm not sure how our viewership would correlate to maybe other cities being able to get their own station, essentially. But
let me rephrase that. It's so that local news can reach smaller towns.
Oh,
yeah.
No, I could definitely see that. I'm pretty sure we reach to pretty much a majority of the entire state, and we bleed into Colorado. I do know that we do not go to Las Cruces. which is crazy. They get El Paso news.
That that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a little bit sense.
But up in Durango, they get us in Durango, Colorado. So yeah, we anytime we have Las Cruces stories, I'm like trying to shout them out, but I'm like they're not going to see it unless they're watching online.
Well, they identify more with El Paso anyway.
They do. They do. I haven't been to Cruces very much, man. I think I've been there twice. I'm definitely more of a Roswell up towards Albuquerque guy, but no shade towards Las Cruces.
I've never seen anybody identify with Roswell with pride.
Born and raised, dude. My dad was born and raised in Roswell. I was born and raised in Roswell, dude. 18 years I ran those streets.
God bless. Yeah, I went to NIMI for 6 years.
Did you?
Yeah.
High school?
Yeah, and college.
No way. So you know Roswell quite well, my friend.
And my buddy downstairs that I live with, he went to NIMI for 2.5, 3 years.
What years did you go there?
11 to 17.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's incredible. I didn't know that.
I loved the school, but Roswell, man, that's a town.
Did you frequent the UFO McDonald's?
Fuck no.
Come on, dude. It's a landmark.
Like, it was cool. Like, what crashed me up about the UFO McDonald's is you'll see pictures of it on Facebook, and it looks all lit up and nice and polished, and you see it in real life, and you're like, okay, half the lights don't work.
Where are the lights that I saw in the photo?
There's bullet holes in the undercarriage of the fucking
Can I just
UFO.
tell you that the McDonald's parking lot was a hot popping spot on Friday night when I was in high school?
That's a sad statement, dude.
Listen, bro, it's a worse statement is, what the third best restaurant in Roswell was? Applebee's. Don't get it twisted.
I'm very sad that Big D's Downtown Dive
Dude,
closed down.
Big Applebee's guy over here. Not a fan of them taking it from 2 to 20 to 2 for 25.
Yeah.
But inflation waits for nothing, apparently.
This is a fact.
This is an
like fucking. We would always go to Big D's, the burger joint.
Yeah.
And then,
did you get the peanut butter? The Big D's. They had the peanut butter burger.
Yeah.
I'm pretty positive.
They had that, and they had these killer garlic fries.
Yes.
And then
Big D's.
Beijing Express.
Okay,
Phenomenal.
Insane portions.
Yes.
Beijing, because we used to do this thing where you would get the dinner size sweet and sour chicken. If you could eat the whole thing, you were like a god in our eyes. I don't think you won anything, but we tried to do it in high school all the time. My buddy Gus used to always try to eat the dinner size sweet and sour chicken from Beijing Express. Only successful, I think, once or twice.
Yeah, me and my buddies, we would order a bunch of Chinese from there and a bunch of pizza, and that would last us the week.
Killer, dude. It was like $7.99 to feed a small village, one dinner.
Yeah. Like, it was... And you almost had to order 2 plates so that the first plate could keep the second plate's like lid down, and then you had to tie it real tight so the second plate would stay down. And that place was dope. Classics was good.
Classics, dude. Yeah, it used to be called Calichi's. I liked it when it was called Calichi's. It just felt like it tasted better because of the name. Like Calichi's, just I would rather have a Calichi. Just doesn't a Calichi sound like a delicious frozen custard?
Sounds like a race out of Star Trek.
The Calichi.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah,
man.
dude.
Well, I just drove through Roswell a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I was going from here to Austin.
Okay.
And they rebranded it, I think. It looked different.
Yes.
Classics.
Okay, yes. I know that they had new ownership and they did rebrand it.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, dude, my roots are deep in history. My dad was the athlete of the year at Goddard in 1977.
That's funny.
And I've seen the yearbook. He has his yearbook, and it was one of those very 70 photos where there's the whole body and he's looking over here, or he's like looking at the camera, and then the whole background is just his head looking off in the distance.
Oh, my
You know what I'm talking about? He got a whole page in that yearbook, dude. It was crazy, man. But yeah, born and raised in Roswell. I enjoyed growing up there, man. I really did. But came to Albuquerque, never left after I got up here in 2011.
So you just came up for college, right? And you just
Went to
stuck
UNM.
around.
Yep, went to UNM. Graduated. 5-year plan.
Hey, I'm a 3-time college attendee, all right?
Hey, it doesn't matter if you get it in 4 years, 5 years, 3 years, 10 years, whatever. You got the degree, right?
I got my associates.
Hey.
No bachelors.
Hey, that's more than some people, I'll tell you that much.
This is true. Yeah. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to. Because college, I went to college at NIMI for the criminal justice degree.
Nice.
Went to UNM, hated it, joined the military, came back from basic because I was in the National Guard.
Okay.
Kept going to college, didn't like it, got a job, deployed, came back, tried it again, and then the Army was like, you know what? You don't get to go to college anymore. We're cutting the funding. And I was like,
jeez.
Oh, yeah. So, finally, I was like, you know what? Nah, man, COVID's crazy. There's only one life. I'm doing film school. And they were like, no, you're not. And I was like, okay. Yeah, dude, halfway through, I can talk about this now. Halfway through, this was fall of 2021, I want to say.
So kind of recent.
Yeah, 21. Yeah, fall of 2021, they cut the funding for in-state tuition.
Gosh.
Yeah, like right before Thanksgiving, during the semester, they're like, "Hey, yeah, so you remember how we said we'd pay for this semester? You're already balls deep in. No, you just so when we all got footed with a $5,000 bill.
Gosh.
Yeah, it took like 9 months to get that all paid off from like the Army having to pay it off, not me.
Just shafting people.
Oh yeah.
Golly, dude. It's incredible.
Ukraine got all our funding, dude.
Oh my god.
Crazy.
Jeez.
But yeah, and it was funny though. How you said you learned a lot of your stuff like on the job.
Yeah.
I did all my schooling online because I had a full-time job and all that shit.
Yeah.
And one of my film class instructors, we were having this Zoom call 101, and he goes, "So why are you taking this class?" And it was like intro to digital filmmaking or whatever. And I was like, "Well, I'm going to film school. This title seemed pretty essential and it fit the criteria, so I figured why not?" And he goes, "Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. There is nothing in film school that is essential." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, you have to do anything. Like film school is not essential." And I was like, "Okay, look, I know for the next 45 minutes, you wanted to like break down your class to me. Can we focus more on that?"
Can we talk about what I'm here for, sir, please?
Yeah, he literally took like the next 40 minutes, like, "Here's why you don't need film school."
Wow.
Yeah.
Fun fact, my older brother pretty much went to film school. He was a media arts major at UNM, and he is a full-time filmmaker.
Oh, shit.
Freelance and does so well for himself. Dude.
Good for him.
Dude, he got media arts degree from UNM. Me and him started making these dumbass videos when we were in high school, like some stupid-ass videos of us, like, dancing around and lip singing to songs, and they took off in Roswell with all of our friends, so we did them for forever. We did this mini series called Dorm Room Drill Sergeant, and it's kind of a takeoff of Terry. Do you remember the Terry Tate office linebacker? I don't know if you ever remember this. It was Terry Crews. His name was Terry Tate, and he would roam around an office just straight tackling the shit out of people who weren't doing their jobs right, and they called him Terry Tate, the office linebacker. So we took that premise and made this little series called Dorm Room Drill Sergeant. It got almost 1 million views between the 4 or 5. We made 5 videos in the series. One of them has like 250,000 views on YouTube. It was crazy. I think we took them down though. Honestly, I think when I got the on-air job, we made them private because there was a lot of insensitive stuff in those. Sure. But Dorm Room Drill Sergeant was one of our favorite things to do. But yeah, my brother, funny fact, he went to film school and it did pay off for him. So if you're going to film school,
no, that's sick. I mean, there's a lot.
It may pay off regardless of what that man said.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to learn there.
It really is. But he learned a lot out of college. He got out of college. He started getting these jobs in his hand, and he was put to the flame essentially. And when push comes to shove, when you got to do something, you got to learn how to do something for your livelihood. It's kind of funny to see how some people can really answer the call, right? Yeah. And you just really teach yourself because you have to, type of thing. I've learned that in home ownership. Fun fact: learning how to fix shit that breaks in my house.
I am so glad. I almost bought a house, and a part of me wishes that I would have went through with it because I barely had enough money to. So I had the VA loan. So
okay,
I have to do money down.
Yeah,
and the interest rate at that point was like 2.3.
Yes.
So I was like, "Fuck, I might do it. I don't have enough money, whatever." But then, like, as I've gone through a few rental situations, I'm like, man, things break all the time.
Dude, we closed on our house March 13th, 2020.
Oh!
The entire world shut down like March 20th.
Yeah.
Like 7 days later. So we were in this brand new house with a 2.5% interest rate.
Nice.
Just
fixed, right?
Chilling. Yeah.
Like
fixed,
steady?
Fixed.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was crazy luck by us. But yeah, everything is broken in my house. My hot water heater, my swamp cooler, my garage doors, my dishwasher broke, but I was able to fix that. The wax ring in my toilet broke, and the flanges on the toilet were put in weird. That was a $500 fix. We had to so much, dude. I barely knew how to use a screwdriver whenever I bought this home. I'm really good with a DeWalt gun now.
When I was renting out a condo a few years ago, and me and my girlfriend at the time, because I used to run the podcast out of the garage.
Okay.
And we're sitting because I'd like put vinyl down on the floor, and we had like the setup there, and we had like stuff down there so we could hang out, and we were hanging out down there.
Yeah.
minding our own business, and we stand up to go upstairs into the actual condo, and out of nowhere, because the garage door was old, and the left spring snaps, and it shoots across the studio, like inches from her face, just flies and somehow misses all the mics, because all the mics were set up, the cameras were set up. I've got a big old monitor set up, misses everything, bounces off something, ricochets that way.
My God. Were you renting at the time?
Yeah.
Okay. Lawsuit waiting to happen there.
Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Unreal.
No, yeah, I was funny thing. I was renting for my mom at the time, and I was like, hey, Mom, so you're going to fix that, right? Because we didn't do shit.
No lawsuit. He's not suing his mom. That's crazy. That's like one of those dumb way to die stories.
No, for real. That's a show that needs to come back.
Dumb ways to die.
Remember Ways to Die.
Remember the song? The Dumb Ways to Die. So many dumb ways to die.
I missed 1,000 Ways to Die off Spike TV.
Yeah, dude. Oh, man. You were seeing people fall into vats of acid. Like, crazy stuff.
There was one that I remember where a guy... He worked at a restaurant, and he slept with the owner's daughter. Okay. So the owner locks him in the freezer, and he freezes to death.
Done. Dead.
Took him 18 hours to freeze to death.
Could you imagine that's how you go? You're just like so horny, and like you're just so cold. It started so hot and ended so cold.
That sounds like an actual tagline. It was so corny back then.
It's kind of like a forensic file. It was so hot until it was cold.
Do you have any aspiration or any interest to like move to like nightly news to do the more serious stuff?
See, so I produced hard news, and it did take a toll on me after a while, because a lot of it is doom and gloom, and and I like to have fun, I like to laugh, I like to do quirky funny stuff, like sports and entertainment is more my beat. So I have honestly not really at this point, I'm not really thinking about going to nightly news. I really do just live in the moment, man. I really do. Like, me and Monica are having such a fun time doing New Mexico Living. Like, we're like, how lucky are we that we get to sit at this desk 5 days a week, me and you, best friends, me and Monica, and we're doing this show on CBS for the entire state to watch on. Like, if you have antenna, if you have bunny ears, you can watch us. Like we're just like, we're living the dream, man. We're having so much fun. Like, we always talk about, there's that scene in The Office where Andy says, I wish we knew we were living in the good old days before they were gone, type of thing. Me and Monica talk about that. We were like, we need to relish. Like, we're living in the good days right now. Like, we're young. We feel good. Our health is 100. We're doing this show. We're having a blast every single day. Like, we're going to look back at 20, 25 years and be like, damn, that was a fun time. We were waking up and going on TV and just being stupid. We do stupid stuff on the show all the time. Like, of course, the show is amazing because we give the community a voice, unlike any other platform, right? Like, it's basically a live voice for people to come on and tell their story, what they want to pitch, whether it's a human interest piece or just an entertaining person or a OnlyKings podcast. We get to talk to so many people and give them that voice in a very cool conversational way. And then on top of it, we get to do fun things like we have trending sections in the show where it's like all these trending stories, and we get to shoot the shit at the table, like, and laugh and make fun of things. Like, like the other day, we were talking about the Ohio billionaire who's going to try to go see the Titanic wreckage. Did you hear about this? There's an Ohio billionaire.
Again?
There's an Ohio billionaire who's going to take $20 million and he's going to make his own submersible, and they're going to go to the Titanic, and it's his way of proving that they can make a submersible that is safe to take. I said, Godspeed, sir.
Yeah. There are so many other points you could make in life.
Yeah.
That's like one of the... Come on.
It was crazy. I was like,
the worst.
It's like, did you not learn your... So we get to talk about that story in our show. It's on KRQE, It's easy for people to watch.
That is how I know I could not anchor that show, because I just talk so much shit.
Dude, I'll tell you this. Yeah, FCC. I listen to the FCC when they are guiding my words.
Well, you got to. Well, because one of the best pieces of advice that I got just about entertainment was from one of the comedians I brought up on your show, Robert Gibson, Blvd.
Okay, yeah.
Amazing fucking comedian.
Yeah.
And because he started out doing stand-up, and he was real big on, like, I'm never going to go to FM radio. Now he's got his own weekly and weekend show on KISS.
Wow.
And he was like, well, was like, yeah, I could either stay with that mindset or I just have another tool in the toolbox because he just stand up, he has his own podcast where he talks mad shit. So it's like, okay, I could be like this version of me here, but then I can censor myself a little bit and just change a little bit so I have access to more people this way.
Right.
Not changing like his personality, but just not saying fuck, not saying shit, not saying pussy, shit like that, right?
Yeah.
But man, like, because I would be interested in trying out like the news, something like that.
Right.
But I'm just because that was a fun little experiment for me for sure. Going on your show, like okay, because when we ask like how to start the podcast, one of the things that I always say is, well, I like talking shit with my friends. Can't say that on the news.
I like talking mad poop about my friends.
So I was like okay, how do I rehearse all that kind of stuff. But like, man, you throw me a doozy like, hey, they're going back to the submarine. I'm like, the fuck are you talking about?
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, dude. Yeah. See, that's the thing about our show too. Is like we get these, it's our job, me and Monica, to like facilitate an interview with you guys or whoever's coming up. They have stuff they want to talk about. Like when you fill out that booking form, for example, you're like, here's some of the questions I want you to ask me. I'm like, yeah, I'll ask you those questions, and it'll be my basis of like what we're going to have the conversation. But we don't want to be robots who are like, and tell me about when you start. No, it's like we have. It's that's the difficult thing that it took me a while to get used to is when I'm doing these live interviews is to be natural. And one thing when you're doing an interview with somebody, it's crucial that you listen. Because it's so often when you're doing an interview with somebody and they've given you some scripted questions or questions they want you to ask because they want to talk about this. It's really hard. It can get easy to just get lost in what they're saying and not even listen to them, just be thinking about the next question you're going to ask. Yeah. So that's what me and Monica have gotten really good at. It's like we take these questions, but we're like, I'm listening to you, man. If you say something, I'm going to bounce off what you said, and we're going to do this interview. It's going to be kind of loosely guided by these questions, but we're going to make it as conversational as possible while getting all the information out there.
So listen, KRQE, if you have any interest in starting a podcast for your news station, the guy's sitting right in front of you. No, that is like podcasting 101, in my opinion. Like, there's a million ways to do it, right? There's a million, there's conversational, there's true crime, there's strict comedy podcasts, there's health and fitness, whatever. But like conversational based, that is the best way to do it. Because I'll like... I have like ideas or like topics I want to learn about, find out about from each guest. But like you just said, if there's something that just comes up, I'm like, oh, that is way better than whatever I had in here, and kind of just go down that route. And it shows that you're actually listening. Right. Exactly. Because it's easy to kind of just like, okay, so when he finishes this, I'm going to ask him about it. Yes. And then I'm going to get to... And then boring. It's boring, and then...
It's lazy.
It's lazy, and aside from like the... very obvious biases from like the bigger news that people are seeing today, the number one complaint, at least that I see, is that it's so inauthentic. Yeah. Right? It's like they have their teleprompter, they have their script that's been approved from like 5 different boards of people and different producers and certain sponsors that have approved this, can't say this, have to say this, use this phrasing. Right. So then with a program like yours, that's what's so great. One of the things that's so great about it is it lends itself to like, yeah, we only have like this amount of time, but we can kind of be fun with it and loose with it. Absolutely. Again, as long as we're not breaking federal commission, standards, we're having a good time.
100%.
Yeah, and
that's the name of the game for us, man. And while giving them like the voice, we do so much stuff, man. Like I have fun, interviews where you're coming on, we're talking about your badass podcast and all the people you're talking to and all this stuff. I mean, hell, we bring Annie Letterman on, okay, and she was a riot, man. It was that was the day Monica was out, so it was just me, and I knew I wanted to do something fun with her, and so we did our whole interview. And I remember I was like, I'm gonna bring her back. We're gonna come back after the break, and we're gonna play a game. I said, what game can I play that a comedian will think is funny? And I said, let's do a game. We'll call it Thoughts with Annie. And I really, for a long time, guys, thought about spelling thoughts, THOTS. I thought that would be so funny, but then I didn't think that our demographic would understand. Plus, I didn't know if I'd get in trouble. So we did end up spelling thoughts correctly. But I came up with this like idea, Thoughts with Annie. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give her like a topic, and she's going to give me her thoughts. Super simple, but super fun. So like the topics were Disney adults. Yeah. People who clap when the movie ends and or airplane lands. Yeah. Stuff like that. And dude, we pitched the idea to her in the morning before the interview, and she was totally down for it. we get to do fun. The moral story is we get to do fun stuff like that, but then we're also doing very serious stuff as well. I had an artist on the show. His name was Guy Jamais, dude. He was incredible, man. And you know, got to talk to him all about his art with his daughter right there. And he has this whole documentary that's coming out. And I mean, I get to meet so many crazy, cool people. While also, you know, we're a community tool. You know, like if
oh yeah, for sure,
we can get the word. We have Make-A-Wish come on constantly. We have a partnership with the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce, and they're constantly doing so many things. And we're bringing them on. What's New in ABQ? Bringing them on as well. Animal Humane New Mexico. We're getting dogs adopted, dude, every week. And I think dogs are better than humans. I said it, all right? So, I mean...
He just had a baby, too. So.
And I just had a baby. He is really sweet, even when he's screaming in my face at 2:30 in the morning. You know? But, yeah, dude, we're just... I mean, New Mexico living is...
How are you guys doing the booking, like, generally speaking?
We have a booker. Her name is Nadine. She books the show for us. And then... on top of her being the booker, who she's like the one calling and booking guests and stuff, she works with our sales department too, because our show is a sold show too. Like there's a lot of sponsorships and paid per kind of like a pay for play type of thing. You know, like people pay to come on our show, as you know. So she works with our sales reps, and that's kind of how we book the show through through those people. We have like 7 or 8 sales reps, and they're really, really good about reaching out to the community and trying to find those stories. And so is Nadine. Nadine's incredible. She's one of my friends too. It's like so funny because I work with Monica is one of my best friends. Nadine, who's a great friend of mine. Our producer Adrian, he's a really good friend of mine too. So we're just like these just young buddies who are like have been given this responsibility to make TV 5 days a week, and we get to do it. It's just like it's a blast, man. It really is.
I don't know a lot of people that speak about their actual day-to-day job with much enthusiasm as you do, because typically, especially today, it's people that have enthusiasm for something they do as a part of their life. It's outside of their job,
right? And that's the thing I love so much, dude. Is like that's what I always wanted to do. So, like I said, my mom. Remember going back to my mom. You just got to get your foot in the door. Yeah. If that means running a teleprompter for $12 an hour part time, you're gonna have to do what you have to do, you know. But you just had to get your foot in the door. And I knew that's why I changed majors too. I didn't want to do exercise science. I didn't want to be an athletic trainer. I wasn't interested in that really. Like it was just kind of like I can make some good money. I'm like, I remember the moment where I was like, I'm just gonna do what I want. And if I make no money doing it, then fine. But if I would rather do something that I love and make less money as opposed to chase a paycheck and be miserable every day, you know? And I, thankfully have like stayed true to that and have gotten, and it's paid off for me. I got to I get to anchor a show with one of my best friends in a top 50 market 5 days a week on, CBS. It's like, what the fuck, dude? Are you serious? Like, come on. The prompter operator from 2000, and it was so funny, dude. I've had some moments where, like I interviewed David Carl Weesey on the show. He works for the New Mexico United. He was a reporter at Channel 7 when I was the prompter operator. So all I did was sit there and run the prompter, and he would come in. He was already obviously on air. He was a reporter, and then he quit. He got out of news. And he started doing stuff for the United. But like 7 years later, he's coming on New Mexico Living, and I'm interviewing him. And I'm one of the hosts of the show. I remember he sat down and goes, you sure have come a far way since, running the prompter. I was like, I absolutely have, David. Yeah, I'm blessed, dude. I just really have put my nose to the grind every day and just worked hard and just really wanted to pursue something that I loved, something that, like you said, something I have a passion about this and I enjoy going to work every day. And I don't take that for granted. I'll tell you that much, because there are a lot of people out there that are just like, I gotta go to work again today. I don't really get the Sunday scaries because Monday rolls around. I'm like, what's up, guys? We're gonna have a fun day today. What are we gonna talk to today? It's something new every day too, So
that's so dope.
It's fun, man.
Because in doing that, it brings like you just illustrated, it brings the best out of you.
Right.
You know what I mean? This is a lot, and I like my job. It's fine. It pays the bills, and it's like I don't hate it by any means. My boss is dope, and it's a company's all right, but my job it's okay. Yeah. But I can't say I've ever sat down on my job like, fuck yeah, let's recruit some people. Yeah. Like, no, you know what I mean?
Right. I'm lucky, man. I really am, dude. I think about my journey and how I was able to, get to the desk and get on it. Because I always wanted to, when I did journals, I wanted to be in front of the camera, but like I didn't want to move to Oregon to make. I mean, I could have gone to Oregon and been a sports reporter, but I didn't. I'm telling you right now, my wife kept me here in Albuquerque because I just started dating her, did not want to leave. I was like, I love this chick. This chick is amazing. You know, I was infatuated with her, still am to this day. So that's why I pivoted and just stayed in Albuquerque. A lot of people at KRQE don't start at KRQE because there's markets, right? And so we're market 47. We're a top 50 market, and that's like a big thing for people.
So what does it mean to be a top 15 market?
So it's size. Yeah. So like obviously like the top 5 markets in the country are like LA, Chicago, New York, Dallas. Those are your top 5 huge. San Francisco, huge markets. It's just off of size. So
like viewership.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I could have gone and worked in Pendleton, Oregon, and the viewership is nothing there. Like it's very, very small. That's like market 128.
Right.
You know, you get paid nothing. You really get paid nothing, and they just put you out there, and you're like everything. You're the reporter, the anchor is the videographer, is the editor, is the you know. So a lot of our reporters come from small markets like that, and they make their way down. You know, and they advance. So oftentimes we'll get people at the station. It's their 3rd station they've worked at. Monica worked as a producer at a smaller station before getting to KRQE, and when she got there, she was a producer also. She did the overnights at KRQE, which means she went to work at 11:30 at night and got off at like 7 in the morning, 7:30 in the morning.
Bless.
She had to stay up all night and literally produce a newscast that went on air at like 5 a.m. to 6, but then she would come down from the booth and she had to stay there for another hour to be, it's like brutal graveyard shift, right? And so Monica's grind to the anchor desk is insanely crazy too. Like she had to do some crazy, work some crazy jobs to get to where we are, and that's just kind of the name of the game in news for sure. If you don't got that dog in you, that grind, the patience too. There's been a lot of really good journalists, writers, producers who just fizzle out because they're like, don't have the patience anymore, can't do it anymore.
Is that patience for the workload they get, the compensation?
Both workload and compensation. You're going to make a lower salary obviously when you're a brand new, fresh producer, and it's, you can obviously live off it and stuff, but I mean, that is an issue.
Yeah.
Especially, at certain stations and locally and stuff. Like you really gotta fight for your right, essentially. So I've seen a lot of people, really good writers, good producers, good reporters, just be like, can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So,
and it's one of those things too, I'd imagine, where a lot of the money is so far out of anybody's hands.
It is. It's like, we're run by Nexstar. It's like everyone has a budget. Yeah. The management doesn't set the budget. They're just giving it, Exactly. So like they're the bearer of bad news.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, my advice to anyone who's looking to get into journalism, writing, local news, something that we, off the field of, is to just grind your ass off, man. Pretty much like anything you would tell, anyone in any field to do. Like if you want to advance, you're gonna have to work your ass off, and you're not gonna get handed anything. Like you're gonna have to work and prove that you're willing to work and do what's necessary to get you to certain points. Like every single anchor you see, like the big time ones, like Jessica Garate, Dean Staley, Kim Baez when she worked there. They had to work their way to that. Like they had to grind their way to those anchor desks. David Romero, I spoke about him earlier. Stephanie Chavez, she's an anchor in the morning. They were all grinders, man. Like reporters doing like Monica overnights and stuff. Like none of us have just like. I'll tell you this right now, because I have talked to some people before, and they're like, "Well, I want to be an anchor." I'm like, no one ever just becomes an anchor right away. Right. Like you don't just hop up to that anchor desk and that's not your. Like you're gonna have to be a producer. You're gonna have to be a writer, an editor, a reporter, but for the most part, I don't know of anyone that's just graduated and gone to the anchor desk, right away. So,
well, there's so much, it's an investment. I'm just you could almost equate, in my opinion, you could almost equate like a news anchor to a news station is an actor to a production, like a film production company.
100%.
You're an investment. At the end of the day, no matter what the producers do, the writers do, the videographers, the set designers, and that's another thing I wanted to say, too. Your guys' set is great.
That's state-of-the-art, and it wasn't always like that when I first got there.
It is great. I was genuinely shocked.
Robotic cameras.
It's great.
Yeah.
I was looking around man, there are just hundreds of thousands of dollars in this building.
Oh, yeah. We have a state-of-the-art newsroom and set. It wasn't always like that. They renovated that in 2000. think like 19. I think it was before 2020. It was, but yeah, it was. I mean, it was way less when I first got there, and then that's like CNN state of the art stuff. Like we used to have guys that would run the cameras, like those cameras. You know, when there's not a man behind the camera anymore.
I was surprised.
It's a director up in the booth who's hitting coded buttons to send the cameras where we want them to go.
Yeah,
it's a new age, man. It's crazy.
It's fucking dope,
right?
But anyway, so it's the anchors are an investment.
Yes.
So everything anchors on those guys, or gals, and if they, quite frankly, if they're not talented in front of a camera, if they're not marketable in front of a camera, if they don't look good in front of a camera, not just like physically speaking, but just in the way they articulate themselves, the way they present themselves, the way they look at the camera, the way they don't look at the camera, what's the on-screen chemistry like that kind of stuff. And you learn all of those things about those people as they're working as writers, as producers, as they're working as whatever, not underling, but whatever support job or jobs that they're holding. You're learning who's the next anchor going to be when, person X, Y, or Z either gets onto another news channel, whether they retire, when something happens, like who do we replace these people? Because I mean, as the heads of a studio, I'd imagine that they're thinking about that.
Always.
Like, who's next? Who's next? Who's on deck? Who are we thinking about? And it's like, hey, who's not going to fucking make it?
Right.
Who could be a better writer to potentially be an anchor? Like where it's all moving pieces. It's all investments.
Right. Credibility is huge too. And I like how you compare it to actors, because like think about an actor's credibility. Anything Leonardo DiCaprio puts out, I'm going to see. Yeah. Because that dude is just amazing to me. And like, so it could be a movie about like, it could be Human Centipede Part 4, dude, starring Leo. I'm there. I'll be there with my popcorn and drink and red vines.
It's all his retired 26-year-old girlfriend sewn together.
What's up with that guy? Why is he into girls that are so young like that? What is that?
I have no idea, but I've been trying to write a joke because I think the idea of Leonardo DiCaprio, he has like a huge house, but like his master bedroom is massive, like a king's chamber, but then right above the headstand, he's got like a timer for each chick. It's just counting down.
It's like that Justin Timberlake movie where your life is your timeline.
What was that? Out of Time?
That movie's good.
That's a good movie.
That was good. It's just like that. They have chips in their arms. They just disappear whenever they poof into fire.
It goes off. Like you ever go to a restaurant where they give you the thing that buzzes when your food's ready? Their shit just starts buzzing.
Oh, shit.
Out, bitch.
5 minutes. Get your shit and get out.
And the cast of Wolf of Wall Street comes in, and White Beaters just drags them out.
Dude, speaking of jokes, you're taking some leaps and doing some comedy now.
Trying.
I be seeing that.
Thanks, man.
That's really impressive. See, I tell you this, stepping out of your comfort zone. Yeah. That was another thing that I had to do whenever I got this job, because I never had. I'm unlike a lot where I wasn't a reporter first. My path was off air, on air all of a sudden.
Were you nervous in front of the camera?
I mean, no, because like I said, I've been doing stuff with my brother since we were young. I've been in front of the camera. I've been a ham in front of the camera my whole life, dude. Like it's been in my. I mean, dude, I'm a diehard Cleveland guy. My mom's whole family was born and raised in Akron, Ohio. My mom was born at the same hospital as LeBron James, Akron General Medical. Steph Curry was also born there. Fun fact. That's a fun fact. Susan Rader, LeBron James, and Steph Curry, all born at Akron General Medical. I'm a diehard Cleveland fan, man. Browns, Indians, now Guardians, and Cavs. But when they were the Indians back in the day, there's videos of me with a hose announcing the entire 1997 Cleveland Indians lineup into a hose. I'm like, camera over here. I've never had issues in front of the camera, but it took me forever to find. And so I remember my first show, like being in the bathroom. It was like wild. I'm just like staring at myself. I'm like, like, come on, like, don't be weird. Like, and I felt very tense, but like I had to get out of my comfort zone to do that. So you're doing big shit with your comedy now.
Trying my best, man. It's a lot of fun. I mean,
you had some. You're going out and doing some. Don't you have like several other dates lined up for you right now?
Yeah, I do.
Here in town?
Here in town. Yeah,
where at?
All here in town. So by the time this comes out, they would have already been done. But for your purposes,
hopefully you were there.
So yeah, right. And they all went awesome. I didn't bomb, you fucks. Even though I ate a dick last night at a roast battle. Oh my god, it was.
Wait. Do tell.
It was so bad. Like, the roast was fun. Like, the whole set of they did this because typically like a roast battle is a one-on-one, right?
Yeah.
And they have like the different comics to go up. But what they did, shout out to fucking Caleb Mulkey. This guy, he's a local comic.
Nice.
Put on a show where it was a roast war, and it was two teams. One led by Trip Stelnicki, another one led by Steph Darnell. Both incredible comics.
Nice.
Incredible comics.
Yeah.
And so they had teams of 5, and they flipped a coin, and it was like, all right, send out your tribute, pretty much, right? And you go and that stuff. And I was the first. I was at the first battle. I was the first roaster, and I got paired up, or I got sent against the one guy I didn't want to go against because I felt I had the weakest lines against him. And I was like, fuck.
So like you roast him, he roasts you type of a thing? Okay.
Yeah. And so I had 4 lines.
Yeah.
I get up there. I'm not the best stand-up comedian. I'm only 7 months into it. I'm not that
You're
great.
doing great.
But I'm trying, right?
Don't sell yourself short.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But however, I go to open mics regularly. I've done a few shows.
Hell yeah, man.
I have never froze up until last night. I don't know what the fuck happened. And maybe it's a lack of preparation, but I had 4 lines in mind.
Yeah.
I got 2 of them out. And it's not like they weren't getting laughs because it was a very easy room, thank God.
Right.
The 2 I did got laughs, and then I like started the 3rd, and then my mind just stopped. And I was like, yeah, I'm done. I just gave the mic to the host. That's all I got. And shout out to the guy I went against. His name's Dave Corvette, and he just fucking obliterated me. And I was like, that's funny. That's really funny. And then
Listen, it happens to the best of them.
Yeah, and then but then the rest of the night, like when my team was like huddling up to the next person, I'm like, okay, these are the lines that I have for these people because these are fucking funny. Like they were evil too, but they're like, these are funny. Please use them. And so a couple of my jokes made on the stage anyway and got some big laughs. And I'm just sitting in the crowd like, thank God.
Keep the grind up, dude.
Yeah, at least they got laughs. So I've got Dry Heat on Saturday.
Nice.
At 9:30.
Hell yeah.
I've got I've got Dry Heat on Saturday. El Vado Tap Room on June 6th.
Okay.
And then I've got Dry Heat again on the 7th, I believe. And then June 21st. This just got added. Myself and another comic, AJ De Leon, another funny guy. Good friend of mine now, too.
Sweet.
We'll be going up against each other at a roast battle at Revel.
Dude, I want to check out one of these roast battles.
They're fun. The ones at Revel, they always sell out.
Okay.
Like they sell. I mean, granted, it takes up to the day of, right?
Yeah.
People just buy tickets at the door, but they always pack it out. Like 175 to 200 people, and it's fucking fun,
dude. Let it rip from the top shelf. That's my advice to you.
Oh yeah,
let it rip from the top shelf.
That's why I was so frustrated last night. I was like, I had some nasty shit, and I forgot.
Listen. This is going to fuel you to greatness.
Oh, right? Yeah, I hope so. So it's a lot of fun, dude. And then,
man.
Even at the worst of it, whether it was like an open mic or a show, it's like, I have at least 5 minutes, and you fucks have to listen.
Saddle in,
so,
folks.
buckle up.
Saddle in.
I tried. I don't want to give it away because I'm working on it. Because I did a show on Monday.
Yeah.
Memorial Day.
Okay.
And easily the best set that I've done, thank God.
Nice.
And I tried new material at the very end, and it's about the bit turns into horny priests chasing teenagers around a museum. And
sounds like something that would happen in Santa Fe.
Yeah. It's very dirty. But like there was a little lull and laughter towards the end, but then my punchline at the end picked it back up, and I was like, oh. But I bring that up because like, okay, that's an indicator of something's going right.
Right.
I'm sure you had that in your career, where it's like, okay, things are going right.
Yeah.
Like this is a major. Do any of that come? Do any of that? Does any of that come to mind where it's like, oh, this went really well. I'm doing the right thing.
Like specifically in the show, or just like in life?
Not just
in
the show, but just like pursuing journalism, pursuing the.
God, I'm telling you, dude, getting the host job for New Mexico Living was like, that felt like all my hard work kind of paid off, because now that I have this host job, I can like literally, it's just opens so many doors for you. So I would say, getting the host job would be that moment.
Because I would imagine now you just have hours and hours of footage where it's like if a big opportunity comes your way, it's like, you want to see me do my thing? Here's a whole library.
Here's a reel. I got a reel of of stuff that dude, it's just, golly, I just can't even tell you how much of a blessing it's been, man.
That's
It's
awesome.
just been so much fun. So much fun.
Speaking of blessings, you're a brand new dad.
New father, Bronson Paul Rader the first.
That is a fucking name.
Bronson.
Bronson.
Me and my wife, we were having a boy, and we are the type that we didn't want our son's name to be on any list. All right, I don't want him to be on any top 50 names, top 10. I want it to be a strong, unique name that you could see going in the first round of the NFL draft in 2047 at the Cleveland Browns. Putting it out there already. But yeah, Bronson Rader, Bronson Paul Rader is his middle name is Paul, after my wife's father, late father. Nice. He passed whenever she was younger. But an ode to him. So yeah, Bronson Paul Rader, he's incredible, dude. He is.
That's awesome.
It's being a parent has changed my life in the best way possible and in the craziest way possible too. Like I remember whenever she got pregnant, I just felt like I was like, okay, like she's pregnant. Like it just felt like the baby was never gonna be here, and then all of a sudden he just was here, and it's like, you know, your whole, like, you really don't understand, like, the lack of sleep is a thing. Like it's a thing. You know, I haven't had. Okay, so I have maybe once or twice had more than 5 hours of sleep since April 3rd of this year. It's what is it, May 30th? Yeah. I haven't got, you know, he's so much fun though, man. It's a blast. He'll be 2 months on June 5th.
That's awesome.
2 months. Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
I hear a lot, not just from just stories in general, but a couple of friends of mine that have kids now.
Yeah.
You get a perspective change.
Oh yeah.
When you have a kid.
Yep.
Can you speak to that at all?
100%. Well, when you become responsible for the life of a little alien baby, like it's like, dude, the perspective changes everything. For example, like, you know, like for me, like I've always gone into, like, say, like, financially, like, you always, because you're like, golly, you think about it, you're like, God, I don't have to pay for this kid to go to college, I have to buy him a car, I'm going to have to get him clothes, and it's like, having a kid is expensive, right? So it really your professional mindset kind of changes a little bit, where you're like, okay, this is what I have to have, this is what I, you know, have to earn, and I'm not going to say no, because now I'm responsible for this type, you know. So there's that aspect. I definitely don't drink as heavily anymore, in terms of, like, I can't go to my mother-in-law's pool party and drink, you know, 19, you know,
Coors
Lights and do, well, you know, I can't, you know, so that has changed. But yeah, just my whole, everything I do, I do more cautiously now. I think things through more. I guess I'm less debaucherous, less degenerate behavior. More things are thought through. My perspective has just changed in terms of, like, it's like my life. He's my life now. It's not about me anymore, really. It's about him. But it's amazing, man. My wife is a trooper. She's the best mother in the world. And we're loving it. We're loving it. Even the good times and the bad. So, like, the times when he's giggling and laughing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so cute. And then it's 2:30 in the morning. He's like, screaming his head off in my face. I've learned, and I'll tell you this, all right? They made us take a shaken babies course in the hospital. Okay, you have to take that. Like, it's like a QR code. You scan it. There's some videos. It's, like, required. And I was sitting back and I was thinking, I was like, why do I need to watch a video telling me not to shake my baby? Like, give me a break. Really? And I'm not kidding you. When you've had no sleep, it's 2:30 in the morning, and that baby's just screaming in your face. I can understand why somebody would want to shake the baby. I personally wouldn't do it because I'm a mature adult. However, there are a lot of people that have babies who are not mature adults. They're very young. They don't know what they're getting into. And
Wait, so, like,
I understand why I had to take that course.
So they require you to take a course. What if
it's not a course, more of it's just like watching a video series, like a couple videos.
So what if you don't? Do they just, like, hold custody of your
baby? I don't think they know.
Because they never ran into it.
I didn't watch all of them. Like, I watched the thing. I watched the Shaken Babies ones. I didn't watch all the other ones. But I watched that one for sure. It's just like a pamphlet, dude. There's like these QR. They're like, I think they're required to give it to us, and I don't think they're required to check it if we're going to be watching.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, dude. It was. Trust me, dude. There have been times where I remember early on. This is kind of funny. So my wife had a C-section, right, and so it takes a while for the breast milk to come in if you have a C-section, as opposed to the other way.
Oh, shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. Fun fact, I learned that in the hospital. So, but females will make this thing called colostrum, which is like before the milk comes in. It's like that's what's coming in, and apparently it's kind of like it will suffice for a baby. And so we take Bronson home, and he's home the first 2 days. And God, dude, that second night he was up every 20 minutes. Put him down. 20 minutes later, screaming. We're like, I'm trying to feed him with, feed, scream. We go. It was nuts. I remember I had to walk out of the room, and I'm staring at myself in the bathroom mirror, just like, there's no way this is my life now. Like he's gonna do this for forever. Oh no. We go to the doctors. He's lost about 1 pound, and the doctor goes like, well, how would you feel about possibly maybe implementing some formula bottles while we wait for her milk to come in? And we were all, oh yeah, we have that at the house. Should we be doing that? Comes to find out, poor Bronson wasn't getting much colostrum at all the first couple of days. Shit. So that's why he was screaming, because the colostrum wasn't coming out that much, so he was just starving, dude.
That should have been the fucking class.
Right. Exactly. And so I remember getting in the car.
Don't abuse your baby. She'd be understood.
I was like, go home. Yeah. We call my mother. I'm like, get the formula bottle ready now. Stat. We got home. Popped in the formula, and he's literally gained so much weight now. He is almost 13 pounds, and he was 7 pounds 9 ounces when he was born. So he's doubled in size already.
Damn.
Less than 2 months. So
what's the teamwork like between you and your wife?
Oh man, let me tell you about this. So there's so many single parents out there. I don't know how they do it. I really don't know. Mad props to a single mother who's raising her child on her own. That has to be so hard, because it's incredible, dude. I remember the first couple weeks, we did everything together. I was afraid to kind of my first diaper I ever changed was in the hospital at 2 a.m. whenever the nurse wasn't there, and he's I'm trying, so I'm slow, and so we're helping each other. But after those first couple weeks, we're we can do shifts now. So at night, so we could all sleep. So I take the baby from 8:30 at night. We put him down, and then I take the first changing. When you change him, I gotta wait. He wakes up crying, so I gotta feed him, gotta change him, I gotta reswaddle him. It takes about an hour. So I take the first one, she takes the second one, and that's we do shift work essentially, and it just works really, really well. We do it as a team, and so she gets sleep, I can get some sleep as much as we possibly can, right? But man, yeah, the teamwork aspect I feel is so important when raising it's, dude, because like I said, there's times where I'm so stressed. I'm oh my gosh, and I hand him off to her. She could take him, or she's stressed, I can take him. And so we do really work well as a team. And the shift work at night was huge for us, dude. It changed the game. Because we were for the first 2 weeks, we were both getting up, just staring at him. We're both. Finally, I was like, why are we both doing this? I'll take the first one, you take the second. So it's good, man. It really is good. She's amazing. She's the best mom ever. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you need a partner like that. Partner's fucking gay. You need a wife like that. That's gay. You need a wife like that, dude.
You need a main bitch. And I say it in the most respectful way possible. All right? If you're a main bitch, you are popping.
You need someone like that,
right,
as your kid's mom, man.
Yeah. Oh man, dude. Seeing Bronson with Taylor is the best, dude. It's the best. He's always sleeping on her chest. He never sleeps on my chest. I think it's because of my rock hard pecs.
I mean, shit, dude. With a name like Bronson, that kid's gonna start turning at 12 years old.
That's what I'm telling you. I'm when we were, dude. Do you know how we found the baby name? Is crazy. There is a app. It's called Baby Name. It's Tinder for baby names. Okay. So how it works is I make an account. Taylor makes an account. We link our accounts. So I'm I basically swipe right on Taylor. She swipes right. We're a linked account now. So we're together. So then it'll be boy or girl. And I just click boy. And so I'll just be sitting at work and I'm killing time. And I would click it open, boy. And it would just start generating boy names with our last name. So it'd be John Rader, Austin Rader. That's my brother's name. Jacob Rader. It would just, and so I'd be if I didn't like it, I just swipe left. Don't like that. But it would give me the name and what it meant and everything. And so I'm on this app, and Bronson Rader, and if I swipe right on one and Taylor swipes right on the same name, it goes into our matched folder.
Hey, that's kind of cool.
So we had this matched folder with all these names, and Bronson came across, and I was Bronson Rader. I was ooh, that is a tough name.
Yeah.
Love that one. And then sure enough, later that day, it's like, you have a match name. I looked down and Taylor at her school had matched with Bronson Rader. She liked it too. And so that's how we got the name, an app. A baby name app, just like Tinder, but for baby names. It's literally called Baby Name.
We are in 2024.
It's incredible,
gentlemen.
It's incredible, dude. I was like, oh my gosh. So that's how we came up with the name. And yeah, just he's sweet, dude. He's so cool.
Well, you seem excited about fatherhood, man.
It is fun, dude. I'm enjoying every single phase as much as I possibly can. I'll tell you this right now. It's like obviously it's not all rainbows and roses. There's moments where I'm just completely stressed out. There's times where my wife's completely stressed out. Social media will make you think it otherwise because we're always posting the pictures and smiling and stuff. But, dude, it's amazing. I'm trying to enjoy every single phase. And it's so weird because I see him now and I'm like, I cannot imagine this kid walking or talking or doing anything. I just picture him to be this way, like, for forever. It was so funny, too, when he was born. I was like, he looked like a little alien to me, but he looked like an alien who was, like, 45 years old from outer space. And, like, that's what people look like on his planet.
Why do we get a retired alien?
I was like, he looks like an alien from another planet, and he's 45, but this is what 45-year-olds look like on that planet. Like, it was great, man. Yeah, I'm trying to enjoy every single moment. 'Cause they say that they being the seasoned parents say it goes fast. Like I'll blink my eyes and he'll be 18 years old. Hopefully full ride scholarship to the Ohio State University. We'll see.
Well, that's what I mean. Now more than ever, kids need parents that are enthusiastic about being in their lives.
That's the thing, dude. I'm really one of the things I'm really excited. I'm excited to see him grow, but I'm excited to teach him about things that I like. Like I'm a diehard Cleveland Browns fan, big dog pound guy over here. So like I'm excited to introduce him to Cleveland Browns football, right? And see what he likes and what he doesn't like and his interests and watching him grow and pushing things that I not pushing things, but like getting him into things that I like, but also facilitating things he likes, right?
Yeah.
And really like backing. I mean, if he wants to be, the trombone player in the band, I'll let him do it. And you know what? We'll be at every single one of those recitals type of thing. So I had such support from my parents growing up. My mom and dad, that I want to do the same for this kid for sure, like every step of the way.
Are there like, not just from your point of view, but from your wife's as well, like agreed upon, life, not just values and ethics, but like life lessons? Like, okay, these are things that we're looking forward to teaching our kid about the world.
We haven't had a ton of those conversations yet, but I will say this, that we have had conversations about how we're going to go. It's so weird. I feel so old talking about this. Like, how am I going to go about disciplining my child?
Yeah.
But I do think that, like, we've talked about how, like say, if we're having issues with him when he's down the line. And, like, one thing we want to do is never be a fractured front. Like, we always want to be a united front. So, like, if I want to do something discipline-wise with the kid and she's like, she disagrees, like, we're not going to argue about what's going on with the kid in front of the kid. We're going to take it behind closed doors. We're going to figure something out. And then we're going to come out as a united front. Like, that kid, Bronson, love you, buddy. You're never going to see me disagreeing with your mom in front of you. I'll do it behind closed doors. But we're going to be united front. Yeah. And I think that's really, really important. That's what we've talked about. Like, we want Bronson to know that we love him, but we're like, me and mom are always united. You're never going to pull us in opposite directions.
That's important, man, because I'm not going to air out my parents' business, but they split up when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And I remember even being like a little kid and like seeing them scream and yell and all that shit. And that,
I've experienced the same thing.
Yeah, so you remember that kind of stuff. And it's like, all right, so if, like for me, it's more of an if, because I'm not sold on having a kid yet. But, generally speaking, if and when that time comes, when it's like, all right, hopefully if the time comes for me to have a kid, hopefully I'm married.
Right.
Hopefully I've got a wife. Yeah. I didn't just fuck up. You know what I mean? But
right.
Hopefully that when that time comes, not only is the mother of my kid somebody that I would like to be the mother of my kid, but it's someone that I'm married to,
100%.
Or at least planning on marrying.
Yeah.
Then it becomes like, okay, cool. These are just some like red lines. Where it's like, this is how we're gonna raise the kid.
Yeah.
This is how we're gonna do this. How we're gonna do that.
Yeah. It's kind of scary to think about when you think about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, like we are raising this human being. We are me and my wife. We're like, oh my gosh, like there's such a huge responsibility. Like holy moly.
I think the average age right now that kids will get a cell phone is 9 years old.
See, that's a good point. Like, when are we going to start? When are we going to get him a cell phone? Like, how much TV time? When does he got to? all that stuff. I haven't really thought about that because, like I said, I don't even picture my son walking. I just picture him to be this little 45-year-old alien baby from outer space who just lays there and cries and giggles and laughs and shits and pisses, you know.
If I'm being honest, one of the if there were like top 3 reasons why I don't want a kid,
Yeah.
one of them is changing diapers.
Dude,
I've dealt with I can deal with blood, vomit, brains. I've done that. Shit. I can't do it. No, I can't do it. Like I was in caregiving for 3 years as management, right? So every so often I'd have to fill in.
Yeah.
Dude. I would feel bad too, and I'd be like, "Gag," because these poor people, like it's not their fault.
Yeah,
they're in the situation they're in. They
don't do shit.
Yeah, they just either aged into the situation or just life turned out that way. Where it's like they can't take care of themselves. And there was one time where I was like, I just couldn't do it. I was like, "Fuck me, give me a second," and I had to like compose myself. I felt so bad for this person. So now it's like, yo. If I have a kid, they are not going to see dad fumble, let alone over shit they produced. Like, that's not like...
Dude, can I tell you something about shit since we're on the subject? Let me tell you guys something about shit since we're on the subject. I can't begin to tell you, if you're going to have a kid, anyone out there, that do not be alarmed by your baby's shit for the first week to 2 weeks of their life. And here's why. When it comes out, the shit, what do you think it would look like if like just shit, like a baby shit?
Like soup.
Dude, no. Talk about black tar.
Oh.
It's called meconium, okay? And
these are multiple syllable words we're using here.
Meconium. Google it. That's what baby shit is before they really start to like get their digestive system. I was going
to say, like, what's even in it?
Nothing, basically. It's like I don't even know. It's literally black tar. It's sticky like resin. It's black as night, and it is insane. Thank God I had a sister-in-law who had a baby beforehand to warn me about this, because had I not been warned about the black tar shit, I would have thought that Bronson had the bubonic plague, bro, coming home from Presbyterian Hospital downtown. I'm serious, dude. It is so weird. And then, like, literally after a week or so, it changes into yellow, seedy shit. There's seeds in it. It looks seedy. It's bizarre. Baby shit is insane, all right? It's black tar, then it's yellow and seedy, then it's just up his back, down his leg, all over me.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this right now. In the first month of Bronson's life, he pissed on me, he shit on me.
Sounds about right.
And he threw up in my mouth.
Oh.
Let me tell you this story. I'm sitting there holding my sweet son. He's so sweet. I just fed him, and he's sitting there, and he's got his eyes kind of like half open. And I'm like, oh, I did this thing where I'll rub my nose on his nose. I'm like, you're so cute. And he does this thing. He's like, oh, he makes this cute face. So I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like doing that. I'm holding him. I'm like, you're so cute. And he goes, bleh, projectile acid reflux vomit into the back of my throat. It hit my uvula, bro. It smacked my uvula. And I just turned my head and went, ugh. And my wife turned and just saw milk coming out of my mouth. I was all, she has the image burned in her brain. I'm dead ass. He acid reflux vomited puke into the back of my uvula. I'm lucky I'm here doing this podcast.
I'm just
today.
imagining this like Mad TV skit of the baby puking on the dad, and then the dad pukes on the baby, and it's this vicious cycle.
I went into like fight or flight mode, like low key, like it was. It was at that point that I really wanted to shake the baby, but I didn't because I watched the video. The video told me everything I needed to know that day.
That's funny.
Yeah, dude, it was nuts. He's literally throwing up on my mouth. He's pissed off. And here's the thing about baby boys, like when you're changing their diaper, like you need to like have a cover over their,
right.
their thing,
right?
Because I can say it, their penis, because they'll start peeing at random. And I'm not kidding you, dude. Would probably hit the ceiling, get close to it. This kid, like that prostate is strong at that age. All right,
that's the first organ that formed after the brain and the heart.
Straight up, the prostate has to. This kid's fountaining all over the place, so we gotta have. Yeah, dude, I used to be very bad at changing diapers. You get You get better at it with time. Now I'm like a genie. I'm like very little wipes. People forget how important wipes are too. Whenever, because I had a diaper party. Have you heard of these? Diaper parties. So girls have the baby showers. Guys are now having diaper parties. It's where you have a party and you just bring, guys basically hang out in the backyard. And to get in, you got to bring a box of diapers. And so we threw one for my buddy JT. That dude didn't pay for diapers for probably the first year his son was born. Because we had like 30 people there, and they were all bringing boxes of diapers. We had bought diapers to the ceiling, so I had one of those.
That is like the lowest common denominator reason to get trashed with the boys.
Yes, dude.
like all you gotta do, we'll have beer. Just bring the diapers.
You just to get in. You got to bring the diapers. You don't bring the diapers, you're not fucking coming in.
That's
all right?
hilarious.
But yeah, I had one of those. So we have all these diapers. Not a lot of wipes, though. Had to go get a wipe. Wipes are part of the diaper changing process because obviously there's shit everywhere. You got, even if it's pee, you're gonna wipe. So, yeah, dude. As scared as changing a diaper sounds, you would get good at it quick. You have to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd imagine so. Right. Poor fucking kid is just wallowing in his own tar.
Dude. Thank God the tar only lasts for like a week because I'm telling you right now. You guys, you need to Google meconium. I don't know how to spell it, but Google it and you'll know what I'm saying. And you'll know for a fact, like you're glad I knew about it going in because I'm like I said, bubonic plague. Making a comeback with my baby. That's what I would have thought.
Without, looking too far in the future, do you see like raising a family in Albuquerque as a
God,
future?
I would love to. I love living in Albuquerque. My mother-in-law lives here. My dad lives down in Roswell. I got all my friends are here. I love my job. I would love to raise a family here. I really do love living in Albuquerque. There's a lot of every city has its negative, things, right? But I love living out here. There's so much the city has to offer.
It's growing for sure.
Yeah, the Quezada's Comedy Club is like one of the coolest things ever. Like speaking of growth, that's such a cool thing that we have here now. We have all sorts of other things to do. I just love living here, man. So I would like to, but I mean, if an opportunity calls, I'm not going to close the door on, I'm like I said, I'm living every day, just like one day at a time, like very much in the moment. Like you talk to me, what are you gonna be? What do you want to do career wise? I'm like, I don't know. I got New Mexico. I got to do the show tomorrow. I'm doing New Mexico living tomorrow. I know that, So, but yeah, living every day, just in the moment, and not pigeonholing myself per se. But I mean, I would love to. We'll see what the future holds, though.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, man.
Well, this has been a fucking blast.
Absolutely,
I knew it was gonna be,
dude.
Because you're a cool guy.
You're a cool guy. We had to mix the mediums, man. We had to mix the mediums. It's been a blast.
So not only find your show, but where can people find you on social media? Find your co-host on social media.
Yeah, you can just basically type in Logan Rader on Instagram. LOGAN RADER. I think it's Log Rader. LOGERADER. But if you type my name, you'll find me. And then it's Monica Wiki. Wiki is. Monica is just MONICA. Wiki's WICKE. That's where you'll find us on Instagram, and I'm doing all sorts of stuff on Instagram. You'll see my baby. Maybe you'll see him. I did post a picture of him, one of his acid reflux vomit episodes. I got it on photo once. So I mean, you can check out all the adventures over there.
And where can people find your show, both on social media and on TV?
Just type in New Mexico Living, and on Instagram you'll find it right away. Facebook, Instagram, and then the show, of course, airs weekdays, so Monday through Friday. We're at 3:00 on KRQE. That's CBS. And then if you miss that show at 3:00, that same show will re-air the next day at 9 a.m. on Fox, 10 a.m. on CW. So a lot of ways to catch the show, whether it's in the morning or the afternoon.
Oh yeah, well, this has been a blast, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Thank you so much. This has been fucking dope.
Yeah, OnlyKings podcast. Loved it, baby.
Thank you everyone for listening and watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.